client here has experienced a blanket on the back several times and has appreciated the results in the past. So we're about to see a blanket spread over the back, as well as most likely the arms and the feet, just to give you an idea of what's going on. Since she has experienced cupping before, the marks should not be nearly as intense as they might appear to somebody who is brand new. Here you can see that I'm already starting to lay out the cups, and I've got a little bit of suction already on the first 3. I do not use fire cups, I prefer Kong's Eye. And sometimes they pop off when they release. But these are very easy to control the amount of suction used for the therapy. We begin gently, and we come back and we tighten to the client's comfort level. And we go down the line because connective tissue pulls and radiates outward. So when you tighten one cup, it affects all the cups around it. It's possible to actually pop off cups, as you saw earlier, just by tightening the others. So I've already applied a significant amount of suction, and the client finds it comfortable. However, after a few minutes, histamines begin to be one of the first things drawn to the top of the cup, which sometimes can be a little itchy. It's been about 10 minutes, and you can begin to see how the fluid in some of the cups is different than the fluid in other cups. I've also applied a few cups to the rotator cuff, and this client also has fibromyalgia that is resonating from her forearm, and she enjoys cupping localized to that one arm and gets a lot of benefit from it, a lot of relief. The connective tissue will stretch, which is what we want, and the intensity of the stretch lessens, and so we can go in there and increase the suction and get an even bigger and deeper reach. Now, I've already tightened these several times over, except for the ones on the arms are still not tightened. But you can begin to see how each one develops kind of a different color signature. Even though you can see that the level of suction is approximately the same in each one of them, they have different colors. And I also wanted to point out that she was complaining about that particular one and wanted that one tight. Both of those are at the same level of suction, yet that was a problem area. So the level of metabolic waste and cellular debris from problem areas because of the lack of circulation will create darker marks. The marks are not bruises. She is not bleeding internally. This is simply fluid movement and very, very, very powerful myofascial release. It has a beautiful effect on the muscles, and she will walk away being a whole lot more looser in a completely different way. In addition to that, she'll be able to expel everything that's been drawn out of the problem area. I also wanted you to notice the gray kind of discoloration of the mid-back. The mid-back is usually the weight-bearing section of both hands. So it takes on a lot of stress. Even if you pick up something as simple as a pen or a cell phone, it is the first to react as it tries to maintain balance. So the mid-back a slightly different color than the rest of it because it's under constant strain that we put it through. You can also kind of see in between the cups as the surface fluid is kind of stressed under the stretch of the fascia beneath. Alright, it's about time to remove these cups. Starting with the meanest looking mark. Chances are that will not be as dark and as intense as it looked immediately being released. You can already see how the purple is gone. And there's kind of a pinkish to the outside. Most of these will not mark or will barely mark because she's gotten cupping done before. Because the rotator cuff takes on so much stress, chances are these will mark. Rotator cuff muscles endure a great deal of abuse from us constantly throughout the day, and we don't even think about what we do to them. Yeah, that one's most likely going to mark. But even now, you can see how the color is retreating. And those marks will be a whole lot lighter than they look like right now. As you can judge from that, which was purple only moments ago. Once again, each mark will be different depending on what's in there. She's right-handed, so the right will be darker than the left because she uses it more and puts that muscle group through a lot more stress. You mark where the problem is. Notice the amount of water. It didn't seem to happen this time because it's warm in this room today. But often, you can see water vapor build at the top of the cup as you have localized sweating. Remember what I was saying about the mid-back? Notice how the cellular debris around a high abuse area is different than the upper back. And then there's the neck, the base of the neck. As we move towards the low back. You can go ahead and see that this individual is not going to mark except most likely, well, most definitely around the rotator cuff, the base of the neck. But even though her back looked like it was intense during the process, it wasn't that bad. You can see so clearly as it creates tracks. It's very, very, very strong effect on the interstitial fluid. It drives the lymph vessels crazy, and it really assists in the detox process. And most people that experience a cupping blanket really enjoy this part of the process because it's soothing and it's completely different than the intensity that they feel during the cupping blanket application. You can get some really good tracks there. Unlike manual lymph drainage, which uses very, very light presses, cupping lifts, pulls, and just moves the water. And you can see it so vividly. As you can see, this client will not mark all up and down her back until we get to the areas that she was complaining about originally. And that's usually the places where someone will mark due to the congestion and the issues that are going on there. It is so easy to get connective tissue adhesions and then to slow down cellular respiration and evacuation of waste. It's also very easy to get toxic buildup